Hey everybody, got a 2014 Ford F-150 with a little 3.5 Ecoboost in it that came in today for an oil leak. After inspecting it, I found that the O-ring between the cylinder head and the vacuum pump is leaking, so I'll kind of give you a brief video on how to do this job if you want to try to do it yourself. Okay, first and foremost, this job can be done if you're a little bit patient. It is located between the back of the cylinder head on the passenger side and the firewall right back here. Now, you don't have a lot of room, but you've got just enough to get it out. Now, typically what I will do is I will take a zip tie and I will pull these heater hoses over to this AC line, and it actually gives me a little bit more room. Next, there are two cam position sensors located here and here in the cylinder head. I will unplug both of these cam position sensors so I have room in the wiring harness, and I will just lay it off to the side and kind of tuck it up on top of the cylinder head. There is also a vacuum line that goes over to the brake booster that will need to be unplugged as well. Now, this is the vacuum pump right here that is located between the cylinder head and the firewall. This is the part that you actually need to remove. Where these actually leak is this O-ring right here. And if you want it for a reference, that is the part number right there. There's actually that molded O-ring that seals that up. Now, if you'll notice, there's some silicone here and here. You will need to apply a new bit of silicone in those spots due to a seam in the cylinder head that needs to be sealed up. When you're pulling it out, this plunger right here at the end of my finger is in the end of the camshaft, so you will have to gently wiggle and pull out to get that to pull out of the camshaft itself. Once you get this sealing groove all cleaned up and ready for the new O-ring, go ahead and install the new O-ring. I want to note that there's a little groove right here that has to line up with that little tab on the new O-ring. Once you've firmly pressed the new O-ring and make a note to line that little tab up with the groove in the pump, go ahead and press your O-ring in there. Then what I do, this is what I use personally as a professional. This stuff seals up really, really good once it dries. I hardly ever have an oil leak after this is done. What you're going to want to do is that seam right there, just put a little dab on there and smear it around slightly. Same thing on this side right here. Just like that. Now, don't put silicone all the way around. There's no need for that. These are designed to seal up dry. Okay, now comes the fun part. One thing I do is this bolt right here, I will slide back in there. Just because there's not a lot of room between the firewall to get that bolt out. This bolt and this bolt, there's enough room to get them out, so I never put them back in. So it should look about like that. Now you've got two little alignment dowels right here in the bottom of the pump that are going to fit firmly into the cylinder head to make sure that thing is centered up. Okay, now comes the fun part. Place the pump downward like this, and you've got to wiggle it down through these maze of hoses and down behind the cylinder head. Just like that. Now, the one bit of advice I can give you is you've got to line those little ears up to go back in the camshaft. The problem here is you can't see back there, so you actually have to use your fingers to feel it and line it up. Once you've got it lined up, you can feel with your fingers in the bottom of that pump where those alignment dowels were. You can feel where that slides in, and once you get everything lined up, then you go ahead and slide the pump all the way in. Then you can take the last two bolts and put them in the bottom of the pump. Now these are an 8mm bolt head. That's what you use to tighten the bolts and take them out. Okay, once you get those three bolts tightened down that hold the pump to the back of the cylinder head, you can go ahead and reverse the procedure that you used to get it out. Go ahead and take your wiring harness, put it back down in place. Make sure you plug your cam position sensors back in, and they do clip so they can't come undone. Like so. I'm going to take your vacuum line that runs over to your brake booster and go ahead and snap it in place. Now it is only held on by this white clip right here, and you just push it down to release it to get it off. So go ahead and snap it back in place just like that, and then go ahead and cut your zip tie and put your engine cover back on. Go ahead and start it up and check for any oil leaks. Hopefully this helps you F-150 owners. It's not a really bad job, it just kind of sucks because you got to do part of it by braille. If you are patient, it can be done. Like I said, those three bolts, you can't see them, so you have to do it all by feel. Just be patient, you can do it. And lining it back up with the camshaft when you're going back in, you can use these two fingers typically to rotate those ears so it slides back into the back of the camshaft. Hopefully this helps. Good luck, you guys. And as usual, if you have any questions, drop them to me in the comments. I'll try to answer them when I can. Hope you guys have a fantastic day.